Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your video recap for English class today, Monday, October 19th, 2020. This week, we're taking a look at persuasive writing, which is an excellent form for you to learn how to use. Last week, you guys showed me that you have a ton of knowledge about the first type of writing, which is narrative writing, essentially storytelling, where the stories are going to follow that similar plot line. We have a main character, conflicts, etc. We know that there's another form of writing called description writing. We've done this in the past where you might see a photo or a short video and you have to go into really great detail in describing it. You're really bringing a picture to life. The third type of writing is an expository essay. This is the most common form of writing. It's just essentially fact-based writing, where you're providing information, statistics, etc. for your reader. The one we're going to focus on, however, is that persuasive writing. It's also known as an argumentative writing. It's somewhat like an expository piece, except it progresses from that. It is all about stating your stance on an issue and then giving valid reasons to back it up. Now, we talked about a lot of different things today, so I'm going to try to break it down as concisely as possible. So looking at persuasive writing, and we know that the basis of your paper is going to be a thesis statement. I have created a document with some notes on a thesis that you can take a look at. Well, essentially, it is usually the last sentence in your intro, and it usually provides 2 to 3 main reasons for your argument. Again, it's the most important part of your essay. This is the whole basis for it. You have to first pick your stand and then give a couple of main reasons that are going to end up supporting it. The hope is that it's the framework for the rest of whatever you're writing. Each paragraph ends up being about one of the main reasons that you introduced. So, I made a document with notes on that I have shared with you, so you can take a look at that. We are really looking at the building blocks for making these types of papers. We may or may not end up doing them later in the year, or maybe you want to start one now for an independent project. Let me know. But either way, I want you to learn the basics of it to help you. So the first assignment you have this week is a Padlet. Many of you have already posted on that. And you're essentially going to answer the prompt. I gave a prompt about a particular issue, and you have to tell me your stance on it. I'm then commenting on these to help you formulate it into the thesis setup. That's perfectly fine if you just answer the question the way that you feel is correct. Check for my comments. I'm going to help you organize those thoughts. You really want to give a reason, and you really want to give a stance, and you want to give reasons of why you are choosing that. So that's the first thing. The second assignment you are going to find today is a zoo article. A zoo article. What do I mean by that? It is an opinion piece written by a young student. So you will get the article, and I will have questions for it. But the questions are not about the content of the article. I'm going to ask you to identify different parts of her argument. What do you think is her thesis statement? What reasons does she provide to back up her stance? Do you think that she is convincing in her approach? So going back from the top, we're learning all about how to make a great thesis statement and be persuasive to our readers. So the first thing we're doing is posting on a Padlet to get started in that process. The second thing we're doing is looking at an example of someone who may or may not have done a good job with their argument, and you're going to analyze it based on my questions. So that's really all you want to focus on. I do not want to overwhelm you guys with too much at once. We're all going to go at our own pace and take things head on. However, looking forward, looking ahead, you will obviously have more things to do this week, and that will be another thesis activity. I will raise another issue, and based on all the things we're learning so far, you'll be able to create a really strong thesis based on that issue. That's going to be an assignment that you'll find posted later in the week. As you guys know, I mentioned to you guys, I'm trying to do everything with 2 options. So you're going to have a writing prompt that's based on our English content, but I'm also going to give you an opportunity to do a life skills one. So I wrote the word job because you are going to also have the option of being persuasive about yourself as a worker. Now, some of you wrote cover letters in the past. This is going to be a technique that could help improve those moving forward. So if you don't do a thesis about the prompt that I raised, you will write one to an employer, and you need to convince them of why you are best for the job. So keep an eye out for that. We're also going to do a Kahoot in class, and if you miss class, you're going to see a Google Forms version that you can do instead, and it's going to track your results instantly. What is going to be the content of the Kahoot and Google Forms? I'm going to ask you about the 4 different types of writing that we just discussed, whether it be the narrative piece, the description, the expository, or ours for this week, persuasive. I'm going to ask you the different components of a thesis, the different components of a persuasive essay, which is in those notes we talked about. I'm also going to ask you, sorry, what was it? Yes, that's what it was. I'm also going to ask you about different fallacies. This is something we're going to discuss in class on Wednesday, and I won't go too in depth with it now. But in order to make a strong argument, it has to be backed up by true logic and facts. We're going to take a look at fallacies, which are showing you the flaws in your argument. Even if you set it up correctly, this is kind of like the next step of it is, are your reasons sound? Do they make sense? And we'll get more into that. So you're also going to have those coming up. So, like I said, it's kind of a lot this week, but I know you guys are all capable of doing it. We're going to go one step at a time. And I'm also going to encourage you to email me. We'll just link up on Zoom, and we can do some of the assignments together. So, like I said, we did great with narrative stories last week. We're moving on to persuasive writing this week. Your main focus is a thesis. What is a thesis? It is the main argument of your piece. It's usually the last sentence in the introduction that raises 2 to 3 main reasons for why you took your stance. You have the Padlet assignment where I posted a prompt, and then you are going to post your response to it. Take a look at the feedback I gave you. Take a look at the feedback I gave others. And hopefully it can transform into a nice thesis. You're going to have the article, the opinion article about the zoo, where you answer questions and analyze how she did the article. And then this is moving forward Wednesday through Friday. You'll have another thesis prompt where you can either do it about the prompt I provide, you can do a life skills job based, and then to review how we did on the content side, we'll do a Kahoot together, or you optionally do the Google Forms. We're going to talk about everything from thesis statements to logical fallacies, etc., etc. So that's what we got going on this week. Really happy with the way the Zoom meetings went. Thank you so much for your time. Reach out to me. Keep up the great work and have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you.